one. We're on. Oh, wait.
Oh, no, we're not.
No, I think we are on.
Oh, now we are.
Yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
yeah. So if you were going to say anything rude about that person we were talking about, you know,
I should stop now.
yes, you should. You know, if you're going to say anything, then, you know, we should probably be like, we'll take that back channel, right?
Yeah, totally. We'll do that in our chat filter. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So all that snarky stuff, you guys, we're actually typing it on the keyboard and we're not going to let you guys see it. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And people are like, no, tell us all the gossip. And
everybody knows us well enough to know that we tell it like it is anyway. We're not really back channel type of people.
No, actually, if we have something rude and insulting to say, we're going to say it to your face.
Yeah. I feel like that's the right thing to do.
To say it to people's faces? Well,
yeah, in a nice way.
Speak for yourself with perspective.
I will try.
Okay, right on. So for those of you who are joining us on our DIGGS live broadcast, today, well, probably you want to know who I am. In case you don't know, my name is... Stop it. My name is Kendall Young. I am the owner, founder, and broker for DIGGS, a residential real estate company in Montrose covering Glendale, La Crescenta, and Glendale, as well as areas surrounding us like urban Los Angeles, Pasadena. And today on our show, I'm really excited to have my guest, Alyssa Hellman. Alyssa Hellman is the head coach and general badass gal at Bamboo Realty. And Bamboo is located in Raleigh, North Carolina, in Denver, and is there another location?
Dallas and Houston.
And Dallas. So 3 locations. And one of the really amazing things about Bamboo is they have many important things that they're doing, but they have a renters first aspect where they believe that people who are renters deserve to live in great places, they deserve great service, and they deserve awesome expert help just like anyone else. And this is a failing, I think, in our industry. We have a tendency as real estate agents, if you're not going to buy $1 million house, we don't have time to talk to you. And there's something inherently wrong about that, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. So, but I've been guilty. I definitely have. Okay, it's not that you have to buy $1 million house, but I have definitely been focused on my process of helping people buy and sell homes for 30 years. And this idea of helping tenants is relatively and somewhat embarrassingly new to me. But I'm not too old to rectify the errors of my ways. And Alyssa and I got to talking the last time, well, the first time, the only time I've been in Raleigh. We got to talking about their program of helping renters. And I have decided this is something that we need to do here at DIGGS. And so I've asked Alyssa to come on our show to kind of help explain what they do, as much as to help the rest of you out there in Facebook land, and also to help train us as to the best way to truly give valuable service to tenants. We don't ever do anything just to try to get a paycheck, right? We're here to be of service. So, Alyssa, why don't you give us, I don't want you to start from the very beginning, but give us an idea of what you do at Bamboo to help tenants.
Yeah, totally. So I think I want to get out of the way that you are in very good company if you have been ignoring renters for years, because most of the industry has been ignoring renters for years. So it is not something you shouldn't rent shame yourself. It's okay. But I think it's something that a lot of people, smart people like yourself, have watched the market and you see the opportunity with renters that exists. And I think the reason why it appeals to brokerages like DIGGS, obviously to brokerages like Bamboo, is you understand that your value is beyond contracts and paperwork and things like that. A lot of brokerages, when we've kind of gone into this trend where our value has shifted to more community, hyper local information, that's something that helps people, whether they're renting, buying, or selling. And so that's information that can kind of cross, the categories altogether. So we realize that we are, rather than being necessarily a renter first brokerage, that's certainly how Bamboo started. However, Sarah, our CEO, would describe us as a millennial first brokerage. As you experienced in Raleigh, a lot of our agents are millennials. A lot of our clientele are millennials, although we serve, all sorts of folks. Right. And what we found was we help tenants find a place to rent, and it actually turns into a really healthy pipeline of buyers and sellers eventually for a lot of our agents. So rather than, spend their money on online leads, we're using it with our agents as one, training. Our agents are coming on at Bamboo and they're transacting right away, and working with renters, and we're teaching them hands-on versus, in theory out of a book or out of a training manual, which helps a whole lot. And, while things are certainly different between, some of the processes, a lot of our business, as you can attest to, is client service and working with clients and working with not necessarily buildings, but listing agents, things like that. And so having our agents have those conversations on behalf of a tenant early on is a really valuable training mechanism for us.
So beyond the training aspects, because a lot of the people who will be listening to this broadcast are really our DIGGS community.
Sure.
People who may either need us to help them find them a place to live, or they will know people who need some help. And it's really hard. I don't know if it's like this in Raleigh, but in Los Angeles and Glendale, it is so hard for a tenant to get anybody to call them back.
Oh, the struggle is real. And the struggle, I think that's the fun part about working with renters is, so agents are constantly looking for ways to help buyers and sellers, and they're constantly looking for ways to surprise and delight their clients. And the funny part about renters is a simple phone call back surprises and delights them, because nobody does it, and everybody says, I don't really help renters, which is so frustrating. And I kind of jokingly have always said, renters' lives matter. Like, they really do. They're people too. And one of our agents described it as whether you're renting or buying, your house payment, so either your mortgage or your rent, is oftentimes the largest check that you are writing every single month. Not even oftentimes. I would say 99% of the time, that's the largest check that you're writing every month.
Do you have any idea how much rents go for here versus what y'all are doing in Raleigh?
Totally. And so I think that's the hard part is, as a renter, the concept of home matters so much. We want people to find a place that they can call their own, whether that's renting or buying. And so if you are a consumer coming to DIGGS and wondering how or why do you need an agent to help you, the real answer is because we can do things that you cannot do for yourself.
Like what, Alyssa?
Like what? Yeah, that's a leading question.
Please, tell us now. Yes. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yes. So agents can help you find the best deals, similar to buying. So when you walk into a professionally managed building, oftentimes, I'm not sure how it works in California, so you can speak to this, but oftentimes the on-site personnel are unlicensed. So they simply represent that one specific building. It's not unlike new construction where there's an on-site personnel that simply represents that building. So when you think about it in terms of representation, they're going to do what's best for the building. They're not doing what's best for you. If you have an agent on your side, much like if you decide to buy a home, you have somebody representing your interests. You have somebody saying, okay, this is a great price. This is a great value for this neighborhood, but this building down the street is running this great special where they've got 1 month free, which actually brings your annual rent down to this. And we can help you kind of understand the data in context. which is difficult for a consumer to do. Not to mention, even if a consumer calls half of these buildings, they don't get a phone call back because unfortunately, the pricing, unless it's super, super high, a lot of agents think, I'm going to chase the check, which is almost a little hypocritical because so many people are in it to say, I'm here to help people, but only if the check is high enough, which is crazy. And so I mean, what I really respect about you wanting to give this a shot and do this is it shows that you're living and breathing what you've been preaching, which is helping people. You're helping people find their sense of home and whatever that may look like, whether that's a rent or a purchase. And then the other thing that I think agents can provide that a client potentially cannot provide for themselves is if you don't live in a specific area, so if you're relocating, or even if you do live in an area, but you are moving to a different neighborhood, agents are working in these areas that they're helping clients in every single day. So you can provide kind of that local information, that context of, okay, if you live in this building, you'll be able to walk to the bus station down the street or to these restaurants, or you'll be able to give them a sense of what life is like living in that community much more than they could get by just going to a building. A perfect example is I took a renter out last month and he was relocating from Austin. And in between buildings, I said to him, I'm going to take kind of what I would call the scenic route to this next building. So I want you to know it's not as far as what we're going to drive, but I want to give you an idea of where you are downtown because he didn't know. Mm-hmm. And on the drive, he said to me, see, this is what a building won't do. A building's going to show off all of the amenities, everything that they have to offer within their walls. But they're not going to tell them about, the great restaurant down the street or the dog park across the way or things like that really are our lives in wherever we decide to call home.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So are your agents pulling from the information on the multiple list? Or, I mean, where are they finding the rentals for their clients?
So it depends is probably the very unhelpful answer. It depends. So some of our properties, our agents are pulling from a database that we have built of the rental, the properties we're aware of. There's also the private rentals that are listed on the MLS. And then a lot of it is relationship built. Our agents spend a lot of time going to these buildings and talking to the on-site folks about, what are your specials for this month? What can you offer? Are you willing to do, short-term leases if it's somebody that needs to rent in between owning homes? And so when you're working with an agent and when you're calling an agent, much like buying a home, you're calling the agent and you're getting a slew of information. So you're getting the whole story instead of just that one chapter. Mm-hmm. It's not unlike if you were to call a building, it's not unlike if a consumer called the number on a yard sign outside of a listing. They're going to get the information from that listing agent about that property, but that's it. They're not going to get information about everything that's going on in that area and in that market. So it's a much more complete story. And I think that's, don't we all want to make decisions based on complete sets of information?
Now, in our area, rentals are pretty competitive because there's not enough to go around. Is that the same in Raleigh?
Yes and no. So it is currently. However, in all of our markets that we're present in, there's a ton of development going on. So we always joke that a great location for a bamboo office is a place that has tons of cranes up in the downtown area. And it's funny, I was just in Denver and standing on the balcony of Sarah Jones' apartment, she'll correct me, but there's 9 to 15 cranes outside and they're building 2,000 rental units in that immediate area.
We're in the process of adding, I think it's a total, and someone I'm sure will correct me here, but I think it's a total of 4,400 rental units in downtown Glendale in a 3-year time span.
Yeah.
Pretty.
And I think the thing to focus on with that as a consumer is the people, I mean, when you're building a multifamily building, like a rental building, it's a multi-million-dollar project.
Yes.
And so the people making those decisions aren't just like, I felt like building a building today. Like these are people who have made these decisions based on the development numbers and statistics that have been happening in the city over a course of 10, 15 years. So it's not, those aren't off the hip decisions. And I think that that's important to see for a real estate agent or for a consumer. If you've got rental buildings going up, I think that's a sign for what you will see in that market moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I would think that for the tenants, because with all these rental units being put in there, the inventory is still very tight, especially if you want the private rentals, like the single family homes or the privately held condos, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That part of what we could do for the tenants is to counsel them on how to appear in the best light to a prospective landlord. Right. Is that part of what you guys do as well?
Yeah, and I think it's also all about preparation. So it's all about when we have clients come to us interested in a specific property, I mean, we're honest with them. We say, we're happy to show you this property, but if you don't have this credit score and you're not making, this income monthly and won't be able to show that, you're going to have a lot of trouble on the application. Because unlike with purchases, when you rent, you normally have an application fee, which can be pretty steep sometimes. And so it's important to have that counsel of an agent so that you're not just kind of blindly applying. I mean, they'll take as many applications, just like Harvard. Anyone can apply, only certain people get accepted. And so I think having somebody that can counsel you on that is really important. And it's also important where we're putting some people in rentals that we know their end goal is to buy. So like, look at NAR. Their slogan is like what? Home ownership matters or something.
It's the National Association of Realtors for those.
Yes, I apologize. But my thought is, and the direction that I hope that we go is really home matters. Home ownership is not necessarily what we're after. We're after helping people. And if that's the truth, then home matters. And so sometimes that means finding you the best rental and spending 12 months helping you prepare and get your finances in order so that you're able to purchase. Because as you say, there is an inventory crisis in general going on in most major metropolitans in everywhere across the country.
Hold it up. Yeah. Back it up. So this is what I heard you saying. What I heard you saying is that your agents, your company, is trying to be part of a long-term game.
Yeah.
You're not just in it for the quick transaction right here, but you're in it so that you can help somebody achieve their ultimate goals, whatever that is.
Yes.
Home ownership, then you will be assisting them through the process of getting ready for that.
Totally. I think that's something that when a brokerage is willing to help renters, buyers, or sellers, you are able to sit there and say, we will meet you where you are and take you where you want to go. We will do, I know that's a good one, right? But it's the truth. I mean, because think about it even as a consumer, think about it, what you might do. If you make the decision to move, one of three things happens. You purchase a place to live. Mm-hmm. You rent a place to live, or you ultimately decide to stay where you are. Mm-hmm. So if you decide to stay where you are, then everyone loses you. Mm-hmm. If you decide to rent, then right now, probably about 90% of brokerages lose you. And if you decide to buy, hopefully no one does. Right now, I mean, like we're upping our shot of being able to help you. And it's not just about upping our shot. It's about, you're right. We're in it for the long game. Like if you talk, I wish I had prepared more and I knew the stat, but the number of consumers that do multiple transactions with Bamboo is quite high. And it's not necessarily because they rented and then they bought and then they sold. It might be because they rented 5 times and then they bought. And I think the taking away kind of that sort of renter shame that some renters feel about, I don't want to bother them. They probably only work with buyers or sellers, or, this isn't high dollar enough for them to answer my question. That's how realtors get the image that, we're used car salesmen. We only want to help you and pitch you and sell you, instead of we really want to help you find what's right for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's excellent. That's excellent. And how long have you guys been, working this renter program?
Sure. So, since we started, so when Bamboo started in 2009 in Houston, it served exclusively renters. And then I think it was in 2010 or 11, many of the agents started working with buyers. And then we've also expanded to other markets. But I think, so our model has definitely evolved over time, where, in the same way that some brokerages were saying, we don't help renters, we were originally saying, we don't really help buyers and sellers. And that seemed silly to us too, because our heart, at the heart of hearts, us wanting to help renters comes from, we want to help people. And if you can't help them at all stages, you're missing the opportunity to help people. Interesting.
Well, what's going on here at DIGGS, for those who are tuned in, just want to let you know, we have created a resource page, and that is at the URL DIGGS Rents, RENTS, and I'll type it into the little comments there. Let me see if I can type this and talk at the same time. Probably not, but I can try. DIGGSRents.com. So you can go to that URL, and that has a little bit of detail about our program. And we are also putting together a resource page of all of the awesome buildings that we know of in downtown Glendale, and we'll be slowly adding more and more, so that will become a really useful resource page for anyone who is looking to find a great rental in the Glendale area. And then we're just going to keep expanding out from there. And the more information that we find from available sources, the more we'll put that on our page. Then we'll be also adding on to it some best practices and tips for tenants on how to be a successful applicant to get the place that you really, really want. And make this as robust of a resource for renters and tenants as we have already become a robust resource for buyers and sellers. And, really go from there. Alyssa, for anybody who wants to get a hold of you, maybe talk about what it's like to live in Raleigh, if they want to get into that, or Denver or Dallas, how can people reach you?
So people can reach me by email, just alyssa@bambooagents.com.
Bambooagents.com. See how I can do that?
That was impressive.
Well, wait, I misspelled agents.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Alyssa@bambooagents.com. If you want to reach out to Alyssa and find out more about the market in Raleigh, I got to tell you, I had a chance to go out to Raleigh. First time, it's a beautiful area. Oh my gosh, Raleigh is so gorgeous. If you are wondering, gee, I'd love to sell my house, but where would I go? Alyssa is an amazing resource to find out what it's like to live in Raleigh, how much it costs. Just out of curiosity, off the top of your head, a typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath, say 1,700 to 2,000 square foot house, how much would that cost in Raleigh?
You could end up in that probably 250, maybe less. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's great. I've lived all over the country, and I love Raleigh. I'm here for the long haul. It's a great spot to be. But also, if you're looking in any of our other markets, that end of my email address is actually our company website. So you can feel free, obviously, to reach out to any of our agents in any of our markets.
Right. Absolutely. Well, listen, this has been tons of fun. I've learned a lot. I hope that everybody who gets a chance to see this broadcast learns a lot. And you know what? DIGGS is open for business for helping renters and tenants get in. One last thing that I got to tell you about. We do have a new lease listing that will be coming on the market. Will be open house June 11th. This is at 2317 Kenyatta Boulevard. Do not knock on the door. The tenants are still living there. But 2317 Kenyatta Boulevard, or 2317 KenyattaBoulevard.com. You want to see the pictures. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house on a 13,000 square foot lot, which is huge for us. I don't know if that's big for you. That's like ginormous for us.
That's big.
I know, right? So 13,000 square foot lot in the extremely coveted Verdugo Woodlands Elementary School area, and it is being leased for $3,800, available in mid-July. Don't have a heart attack over there.
Yeah, good. I lived in DC, so I'm still in touch.
Oh, you're still in touch with that. So that will be available. You can go to 2317 KenyattaBoulevard.com for details. And we're rolling out our rents. We're going big. You know, go big or go home.
I love it. You're going to help lots of people. They'll be thrilled.
Well, that's our intention, to shock and awe and all kinds of goodness being sprinkled throughout the universe.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks much, man. We'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.
Bye.